Oh, yeah!
Hey, welcome to another episode of Spear from the Past. I decided to call an audible today because we will get to WrestleMania 12 next episode, but it's like it's Halloween season, and I noticed that WCW Vault on YouTube had some of the Halloween Havoc pay-per-views on, so like, you know what, I haven't done WCW in a while, I'll get Austin on to talk about.
I'm your go-to WCW guy when WCW comes a knocking. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, we're talking about Halloween Havoc from 1993, and it's definitely something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Austin, how are you doing?
Yeah, this is kind of an infamous time period in WCW history, real quick, Malcolm, just to give people a background, because this is post the Jim Herd era, which was not very good for WCW, pissed off a lot of wrestlers, a lot of people bailed. This is post Bill Watts, where Bill Watts was in the middle of his booking, and then he got the boot by the WCW committee. So they're in kind of a transitional period. Dusty Rhodes is doing a little booking. Ric Flair's doing a little booking. There's a whole committee. And the booking of the shows, as you'll see, based on the finishes of the shows, I'm sure you noticed, Malcolm, is not very good. There's a lot of bad finishes on the show. That's pretty notorious for like 1993, 1994 WCW. They've got talent in the roster, so like that's not really a problem. They do have talent, people wrestling and whatnot. But it was a weird transitional period where they were kind of flailing around a little bit and didn't quite know what they were doing.
But yeah, as I like to start off, these I like to do on this day segment, and on this day on October 24th, when this pay-per-view aired, the number one movie was the Beverly Hillbillies from '93. The number one song
that movie doesn't hold up, by the way. It's not very good. No.
The number one song in the US was Dream Lover by Mariah Carey, and the number one album in the US was In Pieces by Garth Brooks.
Okay, yeah, he was big.
But first up with this really badly acted opening with Tony Schiavone and a bunch of kids.
I remember this vividly, though. Like, I haven't seen this in a while, but it starts up, and I didn't recognize it at first. But Malcolm, once Tony Schiavone opened the door, I was like, "Oh, this is the one where Tony turns into a monster." I remember this. This is, and he's not a very good actor, Tony Schiavone.
No, it's like, you want to see something really scary? It's like, but yeah, that's how people just bad, like bonkers, but the one thing I find funny is this: for a pay-per-view called Halloween Havoc, there wasn't a lot of Halloween throughout the it's like
no, they would get a little better with that later, especially with the stage designs. I know later in the 90s they would have like blow up air pumpkins and more graveyard stuff and more decorations, once you get into like 97, 98, things like that.
Yeah.
And they would kind of amp that up a little bit more. So because it's like pretty bare minimal on the show. There's like one gravestone and like one pumpkin, and that's it. That's all you got. They amped it up later.
Oh, well, not to mention Tony Schiavone dressing up like Jesse Ventura's.
Yes, and it was very cringy because then Jesse was dressed in like scrubs like a doctor and said he was like New Orleans' #1 gynecologist. That made me cringe a little bit. I was like,
but the first match we were on this show, we had a bunch of wrestlers that I've never heard of. Well, 2 out of the 3 I've never heard of beat some people I have heard of. There's Ice Train, Charlie Norris, and the Shockmaster, who I didn't even realize wrestled matches. I just thought it was like a one-off gimmick they used.
No, he hung around even after the incident, Malcolm. But the problem was they had to retool the gimmick because the helmet came off. The promo was a disaster, so they changed it to where he was like a blue collar, like construction electrical worker guy who wore like a hard hat and like jeans and stuff. So they kept him around, but in a completely different, no stormtrooper helmet or anything like that. They just changed it. Yeah, he hung around for like another year and wrestled.
And they defeated Harlem Heat which was Booker T and Stevie Ray, who I think in this was known as Kano and Kato.
Kane and Cole, which was their original name. Yeah, and that wouldn't last very long. I think once they get in 1994, they just go with Booker T and Stevie Ray, as we all know. Yeah, even in my notes, because we're doing a long version of this tomorrow on Lonely Horse, I just wrote Booker T and Stevie Ray. I'm not going to call them Cole and Kane. That's silly. Yeah.
And then they also had a guy called the Equalizer there.
The Equalizer, yeah.
But the match itself it's not really that memorable. It was like it wasn't like that good. Weirdly enough, the crowd seemed to be really into it though. But it's just one of those ones where it just wasn't good. Like for a Booker T match, like it wasn't even. I wouldn't even put it in anywhere near the top 50 of his matches.
No, I would have liked to have seen Harlem Heat wrestle, just like a better tag team, standalone kind of tag team or something like that. Maybe even take out, the Nasty Boys or Bagwell and Tuco. I would have loved to seen Harlem Heat versus Marcus Bagwell and Tuco Scorpio. That would have been a really good tag match, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's a couple of kind of geeks who didn't really go anywhere. I like Ice Train though. Ice Train hung around for a couple of years. He wasn't bad. He was the guy who kind of hung around for a minute. Obviously, Harlem Heat would become the standouts later on. Yeah, I mean, the crowd was into it. I didn't mind it for a little while. It was kind of like there was a lot of big guys in this. So it was a lot of big guys just kind of clubbering each other, sort of a hoss fight. So I think crowds just like when big guys are just kind of pounding and clubbering on each other. But there was no psychology to the match, Malcolm. It was like there was no heat segments. There was no like going over. It was just like guy would come in and do some moves. Another guy would come in and do some moves. Another guy come in and do some moves. Just back and forth for like 9 minutes, and then the match just kind of ended. So it wasn't. I mean, at least it was. I think it was like kind of a clean finish, almost. Maybe the only one. There was a lot of stuff going on, and then Shockmaster gets like a bear hug slam on Booker T and beats him. So hey, Shockmaster say he beat Booker T, the 5-time WCW champion back in 1993. So there you go.
Yeah. On a side note, when I read the Wikipedia page for this pay-per-view, is like looking at the match, it's like when I saw Charlie, I was like, wait, Chuck Norris's in WCW.
No, Charlie Norris, who was actually, he was a kind of a forgotten Native American wrestler, who was only here for maybe like 2 years or something like that. Not too long of a run.
But next up, we had they had a backstage interview talking to a referee, Terry Taylor, because I think they were adding him to the Ric Flair Rick Rude match. Nothing much really happened in that interview, really. It's like, I'm here to make sure things go smoothly. It's like, well, as we'll get to it, like, no.
It didn't go smoothly at all. No, that did not work out to plan. They didn't think that through. No.
But then next up, we had Paul Orndorff defeat Ricky Steamboat with Paul Orndorff's manager, the Assassin, which, fun fact, the referee in the match is actually the son of the manager. So that would have been a fun thing for him to do. And was one thing the other note I didn't really do a lot of notes when I was doing this, but the match, I do remember this match as being like decent, but it's like, was Ricky Steamboat supposed to be a heel at this time? Because he was showing.
No, Ricky Steamboat was never a heel ever.
Yeah,
he was always a babyface, and he wrestled as a babyface pretty much his entire career. I think it was just more he was trying to match Paul Orndorff's intensity, just trying to, like, he was getting frustrated at Paul's like cheap shots and stuff. And I think it's okay for a babyface, if a heel is taking cheap shots or kind of, really throwing down with you if a babyface fights back in an intense manner. I don't mind that at all. But no, I mean, Orndorff was the full on here. It's just Ricky, I think, was taken a little more seriously, not playing to the crowd as much in this match.
But the one thing I did notice is this is like I kind of get where there's like where they got this whole gimmick of El Grande Americano putting phone on.
Yes, I made the same note to my lady. I said, "Oh, the Assassin must be a fan of El Grande Americano back in 1993," and he's a fan of the Lucha Legend. Yeah, and he saw this legendary luchador putting the thing in his mask and the loaded mask. So you know what, the assassin was a fan, I guess. Malcolm, you agree?
Yeah,
yeah. See,
and
Malcolm agrees.
and everyone thinks it's Ludwig Kaiser or Chad Gable. Like,
that's ridiculous. Those guys aren't luchadors. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She's fuming on the couch. Sorry, she's over there fuming at me right now because I constantly agree about this all the time with the whole crowd thing.
But next up we had Lord Stephen Regal, before he was known as William, with his manager Lord Sir William, I think, which I found really funny.
Sir William, managing, the future William Regal. Yeah, that's not confusing at all. And I don't even know who this Sir Regal guy is. I didn't recognize him. I don't know who he is, honestly. So I don't know. I have to see. Oh, it's Bill Dundee. Okay, so Bill Dundee. I don't think he ever wrestled here in WCW. Bill Dundee is a Memphis wrestler. I just clicked on his Wikipedia. He was a guy who had feuds with like Jerry Lawler in Memphis wrestling. But I don't think he ever wrestled here. Yeah, I don't know if he's just a weird manager. So sure where that's from. Yeah.
But he was facing off Davey Boy Smith, who was better known as the British Bulldog, for the World Television title, and it was a time limit draw.
Yes.
And I thought this match was pretty good. I was really enjoying this match until it ended in the time limit draw, which I really don't like. And it's something I've come used to when we talk about WCW, because I think they've done it so much.
Oh yeah. Well, you wouldn't like Starrcade '93 2 months later, Malcolm, when Lord Steven Regal defends it against Ricky Steamboat, and guess what? They go to a time limit draw, and Regal retains the title again 2 months later. So I think they tried to make this like a gimmick where that's how Regal was kind of escaping with the title every time, was he was drawing it out to these time limit draws. But I agree with you. Like it took a little while to get going, but Regal, beat him up with that European style pretty good. Bulldog was kind of fighting back with the power moves every now and then, but the last 2 or 3 minutes was pretty exciting, when Bulldog was trying to fight back. He hits the power slam, only gets a 2 count. He had a really nice looking pile driver that Regal sold really well, and it's that classic time limit draw finish, Malcolm, where he goes for the pin, and 1, 2, oh, the bell rings, and the time was up. What a like we haven't seen that finish a million times again, kind of with the shenanigans. Yeah, not a really clean finish. Crowd, I think, was very sick of the finishes by the end of the show. You could kind of tell. It wasn't a bad match, between two guys. I think Regal carried Davey, because Davey's like a okay worker. I don't think he's like the best worker, but if he's in there with a good worker, you can get some good stuff out of him.
Yeah. But then we'd next had a backstage segment of Vader spinning the wheel, landing on Texas Death Match, which we'll get to when we get to the actual match. The rules are kind of confusing.
Really confusing, especially with the actual finish of the match that I'm still confused by, and I watched twice and I still don't understand what happened. We'll get there. Well, and the wheel, by the way, when they're spinning this wheel, did you ever see like the Raw roulette wheel with Eric Bischoff on Raw, where like you can tell that there's somebody behind the wheel like controlling how fast or slow it's going? This was totally like that, because it starts out fast and then like it slows down when it's like getting into the text, and then like keeps the same speed for another 30 seconds and then like finally stops. Like it's completely being manipulated from behind there, because obviously this is the gimmick they wanted to do. But we'll get to it, Malcolm, but I would prefer like just do a last man standing match. So like just do a 10 count thing or a false count anywhere match or something like that. This is overly convoluted. I don't like Texas death matches in this old way of doing it. We'll get there, but
But then next up we had Dustin Rhodes defeating Steve Austin, which I thought the match was okay. Once again, the finish was kind of all over the place, where Austin pins Rhodes, and then Nick Patrick suddenly decides he saw
the feet.
It's like, and then tells him to continue on. It's like, which it allows Dustin to schoolboy him for the pin. It's like that, once again, stupid finishes, which is, as we kind of said, I thought the match was okay, but it just wasn't also that exciting as well, which is weird to say for a Steve Austin match.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I thought it was decent. By the way, my girl and I both commented, Malcolm, when Dustin came out with his like blonde, kind of long hair and the rope, did he not look like Cody? I swear to God, he looked exactly like Cody in this match. Did he not look like almost exactly like Cody? Like with the hairstyle and the robe and everything, he looked a
I
lot
didn't
like.
think about that,
Yeah,
but now you
yeah,
mention it, yeah. Also, the funny thing is someone commented mentions like he looks like a gay cabaret singer, whatever the word is. So I was
yeah.
like thinking, can they see the future? Do they actually know what Dustin becomes?
Right, yeah. Not knowing from now. But no, just go back and look at the pictures. He looks like Cody.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, I thought it was an okay match. I like watching Steve work, this early work rate of him. Again, it was kind of back and forth. The psychology was a little hard to figure out here because it was just kind of like Dustin beat him up for a little while, Steve beat him up for a little while. Yeah, another kind of wonky finish, where Steve like uses the ropes, doesn't quite get it, and then Dustin just like rolls him up. But I mean, at least I guess there wasn't like outside interference, at least, but still, or any like weapons or anything. But yeah, it was that typical like he loses and then Steve just beats him up with the title and runs away. That happened a couple of times tonight. But yeah, I kind of expected a little bit better from these two guys because they're both really good workers. But again, I think they were working around the booking they were giving, which was unfortunate.
But next up we had the Nasty Boys, which is Brian Knobs and Jerry Saggs, defeat Marcus Alexander Bagwell, or Buff Bagwell as he is, I think, known later, and Too Cold Scorpio for the tag team titles. And for a tag team match, I kind of really enjoyed this match. I thought it was decent for what it is. But it's also one of those ones like that. Apparently, Marcus and Two Gold Scorpio won the title like 2 days prior, even though it was
Yes.
taped before. It was like, so it was odd that they would take it off, give it to them, and then take it off them straight away. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know the point of that. That was kind of silly.
But the match itself, I thought was pretty good. It was just kind of exciting to watch, and yeah, what did you think about the match, Austin?
No, I thought this was the best match on the show thus far, up to this point of the show. The crowd actually got really, really into it. They were hot for Too Cold and Bagwell. They were chanting "Hoop, there it is," like the song at the time. Yeah. So that was all right. Yeah, Too Cold's a great wrestler, like one of the more underrated wrestlers of all time. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's got a ton of charisma. There was a spot, Malcolm. Did you notice when he rolls out and Missy slaps back? Well, she slapped the piss out of him on the outside. Holy cow. Yeah, that was really, really rough. But yeah, there was some fun back and forth sequences. The Nasty Boys are not a bad team, too. If you go back and watch some of the early 90s stuff, not a bad little kind of old school tag team. Yeah, there's a lot of fire, a lot of energy. But again, another kind of overly convoluted finish, where both the managers, because there's Teddy Long and Missy Hyatt up on the apron. So they're up on the apron. We're knocking them off the apron. Too Cold's hitting 450s in the background. We're using foreign objects behind the referee's back. Again, overly convoluted and kind of complicated for what it needs to be. And again, I'm with you. Why couldn't Too Cold and Bagwell? They were a hot tag team. The crowd bought, their win on Saturday night. Why couldn't you just have them beat the Nasty Boys and just keep the titles for a little while, as the new hot tag team? I don't really get it. But yeah, the Nasty Boys just went it right back. But still, a pretty good match and a hot match for what it was. And yeah, probably the best thing up to this point on the show.
But leading into the next match, we had the promo with Eric Bischoff interviewing Sid Vicious, where he makes a comment going, "It's like, my name is Sid and I'm psycho." I wonder where Vince got the idea from.
Oh yeah, I sure wonder. I'm gonna choke slam you through the mat, Sting.
But Sid versus Sid, but we had Sting defeat Sid Vicious, and the match itself. Once again, I kind of really like this. This was supposedly to decide who the franchise of WCW is, but
whatever that means.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But the match itself, I thought was pretty good, and was like, and once again, the finish itself, like, while I kind of get with what I'm sort of reading, like they're wanting Sid to turn face or something, so it was like they had this his manager grab Sting's leg, and hitting that, but it's like it ends up grabbing Sid's leg instead, is like, but yeah, but it's just the match. Once again, the match was good leading up to the finish, which is the theme of this pay per view.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then you had like Colonel Parker try to explain himself after the match, but then seemingly turns on him by having Sid sort of just walk out. It was like, but what are your thoughts about the match?
Yeah, and by the way, this doesn't go anywhere because I think the booking committee abandoned the idea of Sid like turning babyface and eventually challenging Vader, which was the idea, and they kind of dropped that because at Starrcade 2 months later, it's just Ric Flair challenging Vader and beating Vader for the title. So they dropped this altogether. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the idea of the finish of like Colonel Parker being a dunce and thinking he's helping Sid, but he's actually grabbing his leg and stuff. Like I don't mind stuff like that, because you can have a kind of a bumbling heel. But yeah, the match itself was okay. I think Sid is all right when he has somebody good to work with, when he's in there with a Shawn Michaels or a Sting or, somebody decent that can kind of carry him to a really good match. They can accentuate his strengths. Yeah, and it wasn't bad for the 9 or 10 minutes this went, for what it was. Sting is fun to watch. And yeah, it was decent, but again, another screwy, weird finish that doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, the story of the show.
Which leads into Rick Rude defeating Ric Flair, and one of the weirdest things that was like at the start of this, they're going, "Oh, we're talking to this WCW committee, and that decides that Rick Rude's title is actually a legit title." Is like, I don't know what the story about that was at all. But like,
I don't remember. There was like this weird, they made the big gold belt like the international heavyweight title, but Vader is the actual world heavyweight champion at this time. I don't know if it's like this weird interim thing. I don't remember exactly. I didn't get a chance to look into it. But I know Ric Rude is not really acknowledged as a former world champion when you look it up. So I don't think this was ever acknowledged as an actual like world title. So because it's a little weird that way. So yeah, I don't remember what the deal with this was. It was just a very strange, like, oh, we have 2 heavyweight titles. I don't know. It's just again, odd booking around this time that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but the match itself started off pretty good, but it's once again the whole convoluted finish is like the whole international object thing is like and then the referee getting bumped, then the other ref comes in and gets bumped straight away.
I hate that. I hate it. Yeah, I know. Randy Anderson gets bumped. So Terry Taylor, of course, rolls in. He gets bumped too. There's like brass knuckles in the ring. Somebody goes to use the knuckles. Like Flair blocks it. He uses the knuckles, gets the pin. Terry Taylor counts the pin, but oh no, Malcolm, Randy Anderson on the outside saw Flair use the brass knuckles, so he's gonna DQ Ric Flair, and Rick Rude's gonna retain the title. Boo. Yeah, just again, this is a classic dusty finish where some shenanigans are going to happen whenever you have 2 referees. So there's going to be something going on like that. It rarely ever is just like that person's just there to kind of enforce the rules. But yeah, the crowd didn't like it. I didn't love it. I thought the match was good-ish. I mean, I like Rude. I think he's an underrated wrestler. I mean, it's kind of every Ric Flair match you've ever seen. It's pretty good. But I don't love Flair as a baby face. I think he just works better as a heel. So it's always a little odd. So good work in the match, and they got some time, but yeah, another bad finish.
Yeah. But leading into the main event, which was Vader defeating Cactus Jack in a Texas death match, which Bitch, if Vader was a champion, why was this non-title?
I don't know, and he wins anyway, so I don't understand why this wasn't just a title. They tried to make it seem like, oh, Cactus doesn't care about the title; he just wants to get his hands on Vader. Well, can't you get your hands on Vader and still win the title? Like why would you decline that? That's so
yeah. But it's like the rules this isn't quite the rules that I found that was in this match, but I just googled Texas Deathmatch. I think I found a different Texas Deathmatch rules, but like the rules are main rules is no disqualifications, no time limit, pinfalls don't count, no count outs, winner determined by 10 count. There's a I don't think they said it in this, but apparently there's no stoppage for blood. But I don't know if that's this Texas Death Match. But in this one, they'd like after the pinfall, there has to be like a 30-minute break in bit
30 second,
30-second break. It's like why not just make it a last man standing match? Like that's pretty much what this is.
Yeah, well, or just get rid of the rest period thing. The rest period thing is stupid because I think the crowd was confused because somebody would get a pin, right? And then Gary Michael Capetta would get on the microphone and go, the 30-second rest period begins. And then he would go 10, 9. And I think the crowd was thinking, oh, does he have to get up before he counts to 0? And it's like, oh, no, then the match continues. So what does that mean? Oh, now he has a 10 count. Again, it's overly complicated for no reason. Like you could just have a match, like a last man standing where, somebody does a big move and then the referee does the slow, dramatic, 10 count and the crowd would get into that, and that's totally fine. But Texas Deathmatch is weird because it's like you got to pin him and then that starts the rest period, which then starts the 10 count. So that's 40 seconds that the guy has to get up. That's a long time in wrestling. Like that seems pretty easy, actually. Like you could just rest for 40 seconds and get back up.
But it's like and it's one of those ones like I don't even know how the rest is going to understand the rules as it was. It's like, but the match, it wasn't that good.
I freaking love this match, dude. I disagree hard. This match is awesome. This match rules, except for the finish. This finish sucks, but the match is awesome, in my opinion.
I mean, what I was meaning is like I enjoyed the actual wrestling in the match. I was coming from was I think the rest periods kind of did break up the flow a lot.
It does.
I mean, it was the actual wrestling. Honestly, I was kind of expecting like sort of more carnage, and then what there was. But it's like the match was good, but the rest periods did break up the flow of it. Is like and I was actually getting sick of what's his face going, oh, rest periods. Like people, they were getting pinned a lot in this.
That's why again, just do the 10 count, and that would be dramatic for the audience. After a big move or after something big, and then you could have the dramatic. He got up just in time. Okay, the match continues. Whatever. But I mean, these guys always had wild brawls and crazy stuff. They had a couple of matches in WCW. One of them infamously is the one where Mick Foley lost part of his ear over in Germany. And that was a Vader Cactus Jack match. They had one on WCW Saturday Night that was brutal, where Vader powerbombed Cactus Jack on the concrete. That was gross. But this one, they always beat the hell out of each other because that's just what they agreed to do. Vader busts open Cactus legit, in the corner when he's like wailing on him in the corner. He busted his eyebrow open. That was pretty gnarly. They're hitting each other with like the top ends of chairs. They're backdropping each other on the floor. There was a disgusting spot, Malcolm. I'm sure you remember when Cactus Jack is piggybacking Vader, and then Vader just straight up like flat backs him on the rampway, and the thud is really loud. That was a gross spot. I mean, there was some great brawling. These two guys beat the hell out of each other. The rest period breaks up the momentum, so that stinks. Again, I wish this could just be a last man standing or a false count anywhere match or something like that. Some kind of street fight. And then the finish stunk because I was already confused because Vader pins Foley, which starts the rest period, right? But Foley gets up during the rest period and DDT's Vader on the chair. So now Vader is down, but then the rest period is over. So now the 10 count begins, and Foley is down on his knees, but then Harley Race pulls out a taser and clearly doesn't taser Jack because he clicks the thing, beforehand, but then clearly stops when he jabs him in the leg. But the idea is that he tasered him in the leg so that he then couldn't get up for the 10 count, even though Vader was down for the 10 count, but now Foley was down for the 10 count, but Vader gets back up. So Vader wins? Question mark. It's really complicated and confusing finish that I hated.
Yeah.
It's really stupid. I didn't like that at all.
But yeah, I would do the segment about what would you change, but I think we'll be going
all the finishes on this show. Change all of them, every single one of them. Yeah, I think you agree, Malcolm.
Yeah, pretty much.
But especially, but if it could only be one thing, Malcolm, change the rules for the main event and change the finish of the main event. You know what I mean? At least change the main event to like more of a last man standing or just a straight up street fight or something like that. Something less complicated, more straightforward. Hell, even an I Quit match, whatever, something. And yeah, get rid of all the taser stuff, whatever. Just have, if you're going to have Vader win, just have Vader win. It's not a big deal. Foley loses a lot. Like he's lost a lot in his career. I don't think, him losing to Vader would have been that big of a deal, especially if you're going to keep him strong. But yeah, if we had to change one thing, I think you would agree, Malcolm. Like let's streamline this main event brawl into more simple rules and a better finish for sure.
But just for fun, I did bring up did find a picture of the real. Actually, no, that might not be the right one. But I was just looking at some of the other ones that could have been. Actually, no, that's definitely not the right one. That's not this one. I'm trying to find the reel for the Halloween Havoc, see what other matches was there. It was like, but I can't find a clear one anywhere. Which kind of has it. I know there was a coal miner's glove on a pole or something match.
Okay.
But yeah, Austin, overall, what did you think of the pay-per-view as a whole?
Yeah, no, it's a mixed bag for sure because on the positive side, Malcolm, a lot of the matches got time, to actually wrestle. There was a lot of wrestling. Yeah. There wasn't like a lot of goofy segments in between, the matches and whatnot. Like every match was given time, to develop. And again, there's a lot of good workers on the show. I mean, you got Ricky Steamboat and Regal and, Dustin Rhodes, Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Ric Flair. I mean, you got talent on this roster, and a lot of these guys are good workers, and they had decent to pretty good matches throughout the show. But again, man, having bad finishes on almost every match really hurts. Like when you think about the overall experience of you watching a show, bad finishes can really hurt a show, even if the matches are good, because all you remember and all the crowd remembers at the end is how bad the finish was. And especially if you're going to have a main event, which I think is actually a really fun brawl and two guys I really like watching, and you're going to end on a sour note of a really, not only like a confusing finish, but just a cheap, silly finish. Yeah, that really kills you. And even they go back to like Tony and Jesse at the end, and it's like, oh man, what a Halloween Havoc it's been. You can tell Jesse's like, probably he's not saying it, but you can tell he's just like, oh, these freaking finishes, man. You know what I mean? Like you can tell he's just like, yeah, it's a mixed bag for sure. I don't know if I can go like super low because again, there's good wrestling on the show, and there's a lot of wrestling on the show. So if you like watching some decent guys work, I think you'll get your money's worth out of that. But I can't go higher than a 3 out of 5, Malcolm, if that makes sense, because of the finishes. I just can't. So it's almost like right in the middle because there's good wrestling, but bad finishes, So I'll go right in the middle and I'll say a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I also went 3 out of 5 for pretty much the same reason. I was like, and I think I'm kind of spoiled because I've seen more of the NXT Halloween Havoc shows where they've got like the reel for every match, and like it's more hardcore matches and more Halloween stuff,
gimmicky stuff.
Like, yeah. So it's like and that's what I kind of expected here, but I was like one of those. Once again, I don't know too much about WCW, so I don't know. As you said, like some of the later ones did that more better and stuff, which
yes.
I can't wait to get to. Hopefully, eventually, some of those other ones end up on YouTube. There's a lot of WCW pay-per-views on YouTube now. So
yeah, the 1996 one's pretty good. 97's all right. 97 has the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero match. It's really famous, really, really good. But 96, I remember we did on Lonely Marks, and that was a pretty solid pay-per-view overall. Again, with a lot of wrestling and some fun matches. So they do get a little bit better. 95 is not great, but 98's a mixed bag. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of ups and downs, but they would at least amp up the sort of Halloween theme stuff, not necessarily for like gimmicky matches, stipulations, but they would amp up the staging and kind of the atmosphere of the show and the colors and things like that. They would amp those up in later years for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, but that does bring us to the end of Spear from the Past for this week. Austin, we can be find you online.
Yeah, no, two main places. Over on the Movie Hero Network is where I do all my movie-related content. We do tournament fights, tier ranker fights, seen and heard trivia. We do recast. We do, Wheel of Movies, all kinds of fun stuff over there that I host or co-host, and Malcolm's on a lot of those shows, so you can see him there. And then if you want to hear me talk more wrestling, we go Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast has its own channel, and we'll also, since you called this audible and asked me to do Halloween Havoc 93, we'll be doing a more in-depth review of Halloween Havoc 93 on Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast, so I only had to make one set of notes for the show instead of watching two Halloween Havocs and making two sets of notes. So I'm just going to carry over my notes, but we'll go more in depth, with all the pieces of the match and everything, more hardcore. So, and Richie's going to chime in on that and things like that. So, you can find us over on the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. But thanks for having me again, Malcolm. Always fun to talk wrestling with you.
But you can find me on Tape Productions, hosting Rankum every week. We are back this week with classic animated movies from the 20s to into the 70s, pretty much.
Gotcha.
It was going to be anime movies in the 70s, but as Brian pointed out, there wasn't a lot of big movies in the 70s, so it'd be stretching a little bit. So it's
it's going to be a lot of Disney movies. So mostly top 12 Disney movies pre 1980, essentially.
Well, essentially, but there was a lot of other animated movies.
A couple.
Yeah. So there's definitely because I know Biz Jacobs on that too, so I know another one he's bringing up. So.
Oh God, the infamous one, yeah.
But you can also find me hosting Spear from the Past. Next episode will be WrestleMania 12, which I need to confirm with Matt Ridgeo, but I think that's going to be in a couple of weeks on November the 8th. And I pop up here and there. I think next time you'll see me, I'll be on Movie Hero Network for Jordan's overrated movie tournament.
Fun with that. I won't be there. Have fun with
that. But that is. And see you next time.